Candidates crisscrossing the province, talking to voters, leaks, mudslinging, a whole lot more. Alberta PC members can now vote on who will be the next party leader and the Premier of Alberta. And we've assembled this cast of characters this morning. Chaldeans Menseh is a political scientist at the University of Alberta. Bob Murray with the Frontier Centre for Public Policy. And good friend Leslie Primeau, former radio host in the city. Thanks for coming in this morning. And away we go, Leslie.
Well, we figured as long as everybody else was up at 6 o'clock to vote, we thought we'd get up.
Well, thanks for coming in. And finally, we're here. We've had a little bit of excitement the last couple of weeks.
That's the only excitement this campaign has had. I'm sure these two gentlemen can speak more to that point. But that's the only excitement there's been.
And thankfully, there was something, Bob, that we could talk about. And it's unfortunate, I guess, in a way, because the candidates would love to get their policies and their vision out. But what we latch on to, and maybe what voters latch on to, is the trouble spots, the leaks, the nastiness, the attack ads.
Yeah, I actually think it's really unfortunate that what we ended up talking about for the last 2.5, 3 weeks of this campaign, which was really incredibly boring up to this point, was personal attacks, brown envelopes appearing out of nowhere, conspiracies, etc. And we're really not talking about policy. We're not talking about the governance and the future of Alberta. We're talking about individuals, which really is, I think, a worst-case scenario for Albertans and also a worst-case scenario for the party.
So, out of all the three candidates and the members who have their memberships this morning can vote, who has the best policy, the best vision out there out of the three?
Oh, Rob, that is up to the Conservative Party members. But I think essentially you have an establishment candidate, Jim Prentice, and he's tried to really avoid any broad promises. He's been very general in terms of his policies. Then you have Thomas Lukasik, who is running an insurgency campaign, almost going against the party. Then you have Rick McIver, who actually, he's a kind of fascinating guy. He is trying to run a populist campaign, almost in the mode of Ralph Klein, saying that, hey, I'm the grassroots candidate. The other guy is an elite establishment candidate. But he waited too long to really separate himself from the other candidates.
Yes.
You wanted to say something?
I think that's exactly right. I hadn't thought of that. I think that's exactly right, but I don't know that I think that Lukasik is the guy outside. I don't know if he's the outside guy. He may be the guy actually true to form. He may be the guy. He's run the same campaign in every campaign he's ever run. He's always been right in front. He's always been really honest. He's always said, I have to fight all the way. I don't think he has changed from the minute he got into politics. I think Thomas has always been Thomas. This is him through and through. Is it McIver? Is it Prentice?
Hard to say. But he's always been a lightning rod for controversy with the cabinet posts that he's had over the years, and likely the biggest reason that's working against him.
Yeah, but bear in mind he also had incredibly difficult cabinet portfolios in a very difficult time. Education, advanced education, and labor are all incredibly difficult in their own right, particularly when you had the bitumen budget. Things were being mismanaged at that level, so he was really expected to be the government's bulldog, which was going to plague him and follow him throughout the campaign. But I think one of the important parts to remember is that he has exceeded most expectations throughout this campaign and really changed a lot of those perceptions of him.
A lot of people talking about how well he's run his campaign. He ran into a little bit of problems with the leaks and his daughter flying on the government fleet with him, and we've had some other issues with that. Doug Horner's name's come up. And we've been asking the candidates the last little while, should the government fleet be grounded?
Personally, I think it should be grounded. It's created so many problems for this government, right? There's lack of controls on the use of the fleet, and I think the best approach is to do what other provinces are doing, right? Let people fly commercial, right? And I think if you eliminate this aspect, which has been so, part of this culture of entitlement, it will do the party a bit of good. So I think Jim Prentice, the first policy decision is to ground the fleet.
Well, and I asked him yesterday, and he said, well, there'll be some changes, but he didn't go that far. Okay. So good that you're in the know and Prentice isn't really giving it up. But you had a look on you like you weren't completely sold on that.
No, I don't think they should cancel the fleet. You know what? This is a billion-dollar business. The province is a billion-dollar business. All billion-dollar businesses have a jet. They need a jet. The Premier of the province of Alberta needs to get where they're going whenever they are. I think this whole business with the flying was much ado about nothing. I mean, and the thing, and you know how you know that? If Allison Redford can put her kid on a plane and all she's going to have to pay back is $3,400, I want those flights.
True enough.
It's no money. Clearly, it's no money. So who cares? If the plane is going, not the empty ones. That part I get.
Well, true enough, and that's gone on for years,
But if
right?
Mr. Horner is going somewhere and his wife wants to come, who cares?
Then we have to get... Sorry, go ahead.
I think the real issue for this government is to offer itself to Albertans that it's a changed entity. They have to... The new leader has to come up with new policies, new personnel, and to give a new vision. Otherwise, I think the next election is going to be very tricky for the Tory party.
Well, and they don't have a lot of time to kind of rework the brand, do they?
No, they really don't, especially if you do see a Jim Prentice win, because Jim Prentice's primary concern is going to be getting a seat, and he's going to have to run in a by-election. It's on one hand, it's very easy to promise change and overhaul within a party, but then you look behind you in the caucus that's lined up behind you, and that's all the same people that were complicit and responsible for everything that people have been railing against for a couple of years now. So it's a very fine line, unless there is an intention to run multiple by-elections and to get all kinds of new blood in that we can see a distinct Jim Prentice stamp on the party. But all of that's going to take time, and we still have a general election on the horizon in 2016.
All right, running short on time to rework the party, and unfortunately for our panel as well. But before we let you go, who are you picking?
Well,
or who do you think will win?
Well, I think Prentice will win. I just don't think you can... I don't think you can get in front of that money machine if you're not Jim Prentice.
Yeah, especially when the other two candidates couldn't even come close combined money. Who wins it tomorrow?
I think Jim Prentice wins for the sole fact that the party can't afford for him not to win.
Jim Prentice, but the question is it going to be on the first ballot or is it going to be a subsequent ballot?
Well, a lot of people expect he wins on the first, but you believe it could go to September 20th then?
I think my money is on the first ballot win, but I think the late rush by Rick McIver is something to watch.
And we will watch that for sure. So voting is underway now. It ends tomorrow night at 6. And Daryl McIntyre hosting our election special tomorrow night here at 7 on CTV. We'd like to thank Leslie, Bob, and Chaldeans for coming in this morning. Appreciate your time. Now you can go back to bed.
No, now we got to watch.
Thanks for that. Back in a moment, everybody.